Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the time out here at the book club. We're gonna do this every Sunday afternoon, and we're presently reading to present future book. Where's my copy of Patrick's Riches by Martha Stewart. So that's what we'll continue today on. So so let me bring up the slides here and we'll just go for it. I'm gonna share my screen here. I'm gonna bring up the slides here. Yeah, great. See my slides. We're going on to chapter 2 of the book today, and pretty much this is our in the series. We started off with the first book, The Four Purposes of Life. We went on to do a book, Believe It. And our last book, which was our third book, was a book by T.D. Jakes on talking about money, on Cleopatra's riches. And again, there is some kind of matrix, you can score yourself on if you go to Martha Adams' page, just some of the see where you stand on the financial empowerment spectrum, that would help. And we're on to chapter 2, following up on chapter 1, just talking about our origins and upbringing affect our financial being or our financial disposition. Today, we're going to just focus on money. Next, we'll talk more about how to grow money, So Martha starts with our quote talking about that it's better to dwell in your place than dwelling in a big place that's not your place. It's something about dwelling in your place you have control over, right? If you're doing it in some other person's place, then they have control over you, not you having control. It's just when we talk about the circles, right? We talk about a circle of influence, a circle of and a circle of concern, right? Your biggest influence is working on the circle of commitment, right? The more you work on the circle of commitment. So just talking about the chapter here, which is how upbringing and origin affect us, right? There are some features that help us as far as earning money. Is things like time management, right? We all know that time it's a non-replenishable resource, right? It's a non-replenishable resource. Oil is really non-replenishable. We talk about like something that came to place by millions of years of decay, right? Of fossil. Right. So in a sense, it's not really replenishable, right? At least in our lifetime, So same with time. Money you can get. You lose money, you can get more money. But if you lose time, you can get time back, right? So to use time profitably is what brings you into a place of financial empowerment, because money is what we use to buy time, or time is what we use to get money, right? And my ability to buy other people's time can extend and increase my financial outreach, right? I can, to the extent to which I can buy other people's time is the extent to which I can blossom. Once I don't know how to buy other people's time, I'm limited to what I can do directly myself, right? But if you want to then break into the billions, the zillions, you need to understand how to buy and use other people's time, right, for your profit. Because there's only so much you can use your own time. Everybody's given the same amount of time, 24 hours, right? But you can get more than 24 hours by using what you have. When you pay salaries and wages help you to get more than the 24 hours that is yours, right? That you need to learn that. And sometimes where you're coming from affects the way you use that. which probably limits what you can do or not do based on your belief, your understanding, amount of knowledge that you have, and what you're doing with that knowledge, right? And Mata also mentions conflict resolution, right? Ability to work with people, ability to resolve issues, differences, could determine the areas you can walk into and the opportunities you can walk into and harness, and those you cannot, right? Also, ability to be resilient, right? To stay long enough to get that which you want, right? I mean, things don't necessarily just yield themselves to you, right? It's called treasure. If it's a treasure, then it's going to want to prove some kind of challenge. Your ability to stand against initial resistance, initial rejections, initial no's, not taking no for an answer will make a lot of difference in your finance, right? Your ability to earn money. And there are also, those are like soft skills and a lot more also ability to control your emotions also. And all of this are things that will get built based on our origin and our upbringing. They build us, right? They build us. This is things you can learn also at an old age, but there is a part that you've already gotten into you as part of your upbringing, right? And that it's supposed to help you. But there's also redemption if that is not being built correctly. There is like John Wooden would say, it's what you learn after you've learned it all. That is what takes you that's what makes you rich. That's what makes you a champion, right? So you can learn something because it's not, again, don't forget, knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. It's not what you know. It's not necessarily what you have. It's your ability to use what you know and what you have rightly that gives you power, that gives you money, that gives you breakthrough, that gives you entrance into the place of greatness, right? So again, and all of this, like we said, your upbringing affects that because your upbringing affects your belief system. Your belief system and things that are stored in your subconsciousness affect your feelings towards things, and your feelings towards things makes those things easy or difficult for you, right? Things that are in line with the programming, right? Your programming, the way your subconsciousness has been programmed, are easier to do than the things that are against your subconsciousness. Because when your subconsciousness is against the thing you're trying to do, you are like fighting with yourself. And don't forget that whole African proverb says that when there is no enemy within, the enemy without can do you nothing. But when there's an enemy within, you're already conquered, right? And the enemy outside will only need to use the enemy that's within you to get you, right? So let's move on. So pretty much our upbringing, have a tremendous effect on the decisions we make as an adult. Like I said, it affects the programming you have, the programming that runs your life, right? And it could be positive, it could be negative, depending on what it is, right? And we're going to look at some of those, a bit more in depth, and see what we can learn from that. And what we're trying to do after this discussion is look at some of them and see what we can do about them or bring them to fore, right? So we can know that these are the things we need to work on and we can make a difference for us, right? And so I'm just going to go on to it. And typically, depending on what we find, what matter prescribes is if there is if it is a negative in whatever, we can process it to take the negative energy away and bring and reinforce a positive energy. And the way we do that is by recognizing whatsoever the belief it is, right? Know whether it's serving us or not serving us, and we can release the negative and imbibe the positive and repeat the positive, right? It's so reinforce a positive. So together into the right place. Because we're energy, right? So you're trying to get the right energy to work for your life, right? All right, so let's just look at this five key points here of ways in which origin and upbringing might affect our lives, right? So number one is the financial status of the household with silver spoons in our mouths, right? And those that were born with silver spoon, the silver spoon can affect you both positively or negatively. Not born without silver spoon can affect you both positively and negatively. So it's not necessarily the circumstances of your upbringing, it's what you got from it, right? Was what you got from it. Rather, there is a story we typically talk about two brothers, right, that grew up in the same household, right, and turned out differently, right? They grew up in a household where their father was a drunkard and their father was abusive, you know. And one grew up and became a very good man, right? Who respected his wife and took care of his family. And they asked him, so what happened? How did you turn out the way his son? He saw what was in his father. And because he saw what was in his father, he interpreted it life. The other one turned out badly, just as like the father. And they asked, why did you turn out this bad? He said, the father. Right, you see that both of them have the same circumstance, right? But they gave different interpretation to that circumstance. The other one said, hey, it's my father, when it turned out badly, right? But it's the same example, two different occurrences, two different outcomes, right? You know, so we can't blame the circumstances of our life. We can't bring our upbringing at the end of the day. So we're not here looking at origin and upbringing in a way to blame it. We're just saying, how did you interpret it? And in what way is it, or has it been affecting your life, right? So that you can do a cleansing work, a redemption work, and get yourself on the right path, right? So we're not here trying to look down on anybody's upbringing, right? Because upbringing really does not determine your destiny. It's the way you interpret it that determines your destiny, right? You know, it's just that thing we say all the time. We say, don't ever believe a prophecy that does not empower you, right? Don't ever believe what someone has to say that does not empower you, right? Because it's not about what the person is saying, right? It's about you believing it or not believing it. And why would you want to disempower yourself, right? Life is a battlefield, right? And you're here to win. Otherwise, why are you here? Winning is important. Nobody's here just to pass. God did not put you here just to be a passerby. You're here to make an impact. You're here to make a difference. You're here to make your mark. You're here to imprint your name on the time, right? So we're here to win. So everything you want to do, you're looking for things that will empower you in the direction, in the line of winning, in the direction, in the line of having financial empowerment, to be able to meet the details, the requirements of your life, right? So, yeah, so might have grown up in different circumstances, enough money, not enough money, whatever it is. The important thing is the way you interpret it. You need to interpret it the way that will empower you, that will make you meet the goals you have set for your life, that will make you successful according to your definition of success. Because whatever happened in your past is not your limitation. Your interpretation of it is or could be your limitation. So it's up to you to interpret it the way it empowers you, right? To be able to achieve, be a success in life, to be able to become the greatest and the highest expression of all that God has made you, created you to be, right? That's important, right? So we're going to the next one. It says also, if you grew up with overindulgent parents, right? Parents that were just overindulgent, that means they did not teach you the act of discipline, the act of holding yourself. They gave you everything you wanted. Everything you wanted was at your beck and beckon. So you did not develop what discipline. right? If you don't have discipline, then you're going to have problem with money. If you are not someone that knows how to suffer in the short term so that you can have joy in the long term, like we would popularly say, Les Brown will put it this way: say, do that which is hard today so that your life can be easy tomorrow. Right? If you do what is easy today, your life is going to be hard tomorrow. Pay the price for what you want in your life. Nothing comes easy. Nothing comes free in this life that we're in. Everything comes according to what you have sown. You reap according to what you have sown. If you don't sow, you will not reap. Right? If you don't have any seed in the ground, you cannot expect anything. Right? And you should not blame anybody if there's no harvest for you. Right? As Jim Rohn reported, in a time of harvest, everybody needs to be matured enough to accept the circumstance, the results that come your way. Right? If there's abundance for the energy, the sense to have invested, to have sown, to be able to reap what you are reaping. Right? And if it's not in abundance, you also need to be grateful that at least you have the opportunity to see that result so you can learn from it and do a better job on your life, right? And there's no one to blame. It's what you sow that you reap. There are no excuses around it. There are only lessons to be learned, right? Number 2, we talk about parents' aversion towards early financial education, right? So there are some parents that probably don't teach their children finances. Oh, it's too young, right? It's never too young to start teaching our children financial discipline, because the discipline will teach them that is inculcated in them and affects them as they grow up, right? There's never a time that it's too early to teach your child money. Once your child has recognition and can learn anything at all, right? We need to teach them financial principles. Take every opportunity to teach them, because that's going to affect them. It's going to affect their acumen to earn money, their disposition to earn money, right? And we also need to be careful of robbers and thieves and people who just want to use us, right? I know people preach different things that have no sense, no beginning, have no bearing on the word of God, just a religion they bought themselves and want to just steal from other people and tell you about money is the root of all evil. I mean, those are lies. And I guess we've said a whole lot about that for you no one should be believing that lie today. I mean, the month of June, I talk about money every year. And I've done so much of that. I don't think anyone around me should be having any such strange beliefs, right? I've got to talk about money every June. And I mean, I started at a point where people had a lot of hypocrites. And I think those hypocrites have been combated, right? Money is good. God wants you to have it. Money is good. God wants you to have it, right? So, all right, we'll go on to the 4th point here. It says the idea of being financially dependent on someone. I mean, that's another limitation, right? When people come from homes when you're taught, the girls are taught to be wives, the boys are taught to be husbands, right? From a financial perspective, and the impression we give to the girls is that they need to be dependent on their husband, and that's fast phasing out anyway. That's like old man's fable, right? Everyone is equally enabled to be financially empowered. Financial empowerment knows no gender. And thank God for the keyword from the International Women's Day this year, breaking the bias. Finance knows no gender. Every single gender can be a billionaire, a zillionaire, right? There's no limitation that comes from gender, right? And there's no reason why the wife cannot be as rich as the husband, right? There's nothing against that, and there's no reason why it should not be, right? And don't believe any old man's fable. Women are meant to be rich just as much as men are meant to be rich. So don't deprive yourself, man. You need to be rich. You need it. It makes your marriage easier. It makes running your family easier. You can do a whole lot more things. You can become more fulfilled than you would be if you didn't have money, right? So, and lastly, we talked about growing up in separated homes. That could also affect the way we think about money. You don't see both parents. You're not able to, because children grow by what they see, not what they hear, right? Actually, is what makes the child, not what you tell them, right? And because they're only seeing one of the parent, right? They don't have the benefit of seeing both of them at work, the dynamics of individuality and corporateness in handling finance. But that is not the end of the world. Like we said again, it's the way you interpret it. It's not necessarily what happened, what you saw. It's the interpretation that affects your belief system. It's the interpretation that affects the programming that gets into your subconsciousness and affects your life, right? So, and in whatever it is, there's redemption. That's the reason why we spend this time here, and we can correct whatever it is, I'm gonna close soon here. That's my last slide. Feel free. I mean, you can drop a note for me on YouTube. You can drop a note for me on Facebook. We do have a Facebook channel with this book club with the Saint, and I can answer your questions, and we can build financial empowerment together, even as we go through Martha Adams' book. Thank you. Thanks for sharing this afternoon with me. God bless you. All to your financial empowerment. Thank you. Bye-bye.